and welcome back to Rue's Life. It's an absolutely glorious day here. It's June and I'm going to give you a tour around the farm. So just while we're in the barn, I'm keeping it quiet. We have some swallows. They come back every year and they have a nest. They have two nests actually, and they'll often have at least two broods. And these are the first hatch of this spring, and the babies have just fledged. So I'm going to try and get you a bit of footage, but they're so quick, I may not get any. So let's see what we can do. So as I said, it is a beautiful, beautiful, glorious, sunshiny day. It's only just gone 7:30 in the morning. It's going to be really hot today. So I thought I'd take you around the farm before it gets too hot. So you can see we've already started mowing. This is the paddock that we have taken over as garden. The beautiful oak tree is really greening up and it looks absolutely gorgeous. There's Kay having a little snooze. The dogs really like to come out and lie in the sun, but they're also sensible enough that they will get up and go into the shade. As you can see, the chickens are still happy and healthy. They're really enjoying their time out. You know, it was such a long winter. It's always a long winter and it gets muddy, but having to have them all shut down with the risk of avian flu made it particularly difficult. So just to have them out and free ranging again is great. And you can see that where they are, it's nice and cool here. So I just moved the camera. The sun is starting to come over, but the combination of the trees behind me, the pear tree and the oak tree, gives some shade in the morning. And then obviously we've got the apples, damson and the beautiful laburnum over there. So with the stables to the left and the woodshed to the right, they get a little bit of sun and a little bit of shade all day, which is fantastic. And if you want to see how the chickens are getting on, I will pop a link up above to my latest chicken update. So that's one of the sheep. You can see they're looking a little bit scruffy at the moment. They're Wiltshire Horn ewes, and they don't actually need to be shorn. They actually just shed their wool. So they usually shed it a bit earlier, but because it's been a colder start to the season, you can see that some of them are just still hanging on to a little bit of their fleece. When you've got a small flock, it's a real advantage that you don't actually have to get somebody in to shear them, because it can be difficult to get someone to come and do a small number. But they're really happy and healthy, if a little fat. So I'm not going to walk you around all of the fields that don't have any stock in them at the moment, but you can see the grass is really coming up now. It's starting to look lovely. So I'm resting some of the fields, and then I will rotate the horses and the sheep around. And if I just move the camera, you may be able to see my little friend. Now this is a little cat that's actually started turning up. He's been wandering around the farm and he's actually started coming over to the plot and coming into the polytunnel. He is an adorable little cat. He's really friendly, but we can't actually have cats here because we've got two greyhounds and they've both raced, and they would chase, and I'm afraid to say that, you know, if they got the opportunity, it's not their fault, it's bred into them. They've been trained to race and chase things, and he wouldn't stand a chance. So I'm not actively encouraging him because I'm so worried that he's going to come into the garden. That said, he's probably been hanging around now for a good 6 months, and he seems to understand where his boundaries are. But that's why I'm not encouraging him too much. I have managed to trace his owners, and I've told him that he's coming. He's coming quite a distance because we don't have any direct neighbours. They know that he's coming. I've told them about the greyhounds. I know it's really difficult to stop cats from wandering around, but I felt that I ought to just at least let them know. So there he is. So let's just move the camera around. Look at him rolling around. He's so cute. I always used to have cats until we had the greyhounds, so it's quite nice to have his little floofy face around the place. But yeah, I'm not overly encouraging him. So you can see that as I say, everywhere's greening up and it's looking really, really nice. I'll just move you gently around so you can see. I'm kind of almost in the middle of the farm at the moment, just by one of the field gates. So let's have a look at the horses. Here's Mr. Garth, he's coming to say hello. Hi Garthy. And you can see he's completely shed all of his winter coat. I think last time I showed him to you, he was still quite woolly. He's got a gorgeous glossy shine to his coat. His mane's a bit scruffy. I normally keep it neat and tidy and pulled very short for plaiting, but I've not been competing with one thing or another. So he's got the windswept and interesting look at the moment. Hello, handsome. It's a good boy. Coming in for his close-up. You do like the camera, don't you? Yes. And then if we just move the camera around, there's Mr. Fish just mooching about. Here he comes. So I've got them in this paddock at the moment, which is next to the house. You can see there's plenty of grass here. I do bring them in for a few hours on some of the days just to get them out of the sun, and also so they're not stuffing their faces ridiculously with grass. And I will take you up and show you the pony in a minute. Let's just see if we can get the camera away from Garth, who's loving it. And he says, get out my camera space, and show you Mr. Fish. There he is. Handsome boy. Again, lovely glossy shiny coat. They're looking really happy and healthy. I had the farrier here a few days ago. Fish had his feet trimmed and Garth has had his shoes sorted. So you can see we've actually finally built this permanent little paddock in the corner, which I've been talking about for a while. And that's just to keep little Sonny in a secure area that he can't get out of, where he hasn't got the access to so much grass. And as I've explained in previous videos, it's really important with these native breeds to restrict their diet through the summer months to keep his weight down and to prevent him from getting laminitis and other health issues. But laminitis is the biggie with these ponies, so it is a bit of a cruel to be kind situation. We did originally used to section off areas for him with electric fencing, but he used to just run through the electric fence, so we've put in a permanent paddock now. And I'll just take you to the corner and show you how we've gone about it, because we've done something that we think is quite clever with the water trough. So because there was already a permanent water trough here that's self-filling, rather than having to carry buckets of water, we have put the fence so it's across the trough, so it can be accessed from both sides, which is just great. So it just means they've got a permanent fresh supply of water in Pony's side and out here where the big boys are. So let's go and have a closer look at little Ponyo. Here he is. He's such a handsome little dude. And you can see, you know, he is a little bit of a tub, but we are keeping the weight off him. And he really does look beautiful at this time of the year. So there's little Smarty Pants himself. We do give him little bits of hay and a little feed as well, because obviously he's eaten this grass down to almost nothing. And then he does intermittently get some time out with the big boys. And if I just turn the camera around, you may realise why we've got heavy breathing going on. Here's Mr. Carl. He just loves this camera. You can't eat it, mate. You cannot eat the camera. Blue skies and happy horses. So that's really what's going on around the farm this June. This is the time of year where the maintenance of the horses and the sheep becomes less, because, as I say, they've shed their coats and their fleeces, they don't need as much hard feed, they don't need to be stabled as much. So it's a little bit easier at this time of the year. We're not breaking ice, we're not having to deal with the mud. So everything becomes a little bit easier. And what's quite interesting that I find living on the small holding and living this farm life, for anybody that's considering doing it, who say, oh, you know, it's a lot of hard work. Yes, it is a lot of hard work, but there's kind of a natural cycle to it. So through the winter months where I'm not really growing as much, and there's not the weeds, and we haven't got the mowing and all that kind of thing to be done, that's when the time of year when the animals actually need more maintenance and care. And then it flips around again through the summer, so when the animals need less, I've got more time for growing and obviously mowing and all that kind of thing. So there's a natural cycle to it, and it kind of balances out, because if you had all of it to do all of the time, it really would just be too much. But there is, as I say, this natural cycle where it kind of moves around. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit that bell to get notifications of all my latest videos. I hope you're well, I hope you're enjoying this wonderful sunshine, and I'll see you all again soon.